Hey, everybody! Thank you so very much for joining us. I'm Amanda VanHiel. I am with Zelda Universe. I am going to be hosting this wonderful panel of actors from The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and Age of Calamity. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And so I'm going to first just go through our Brady Bunch squares of people that I have here, and I'm going to start with the top left. Going to introduce you, and I'm just going to ask you to please say your character name and what you really like about your character. Ooh. All right, so I'm going to start. Andi, I've got you on this way. So Andi Gibson.
Hi, I play Impa in both Breath of the Wild and Age of Calamity. Mind's blown. And what I love about Impa is she just spans 100 years, and she's a badass. Thank you.
That's awesome. And yes, she is. All right, Sean.
Hey, I'm Sean. I voice the third and sixth best Rito in the game, Revali and Teba. Don't worry about who the first and second are. What do I like about them? I like that in Breath of the Wild, Revali knows how to draw a crowd, and in Age of Calamity, he knows how to annihilate a crowd. And I like that Teba in Breath of the Wild is a man of few words, and in Age of Calamity, he's a man of the highest DPS in the game. So there's something to appreciate about all of them.
What about the Deku Tree?
You know, he wasn't able to make it for Age of Calamity. He just kind of wanted to stay rooted to where he was.
All right.
I see what you did there. Nice one. All right, Joe.
Couldn't give leaf of absence. Sorry.
Yeah, Joe Hernandez. I vote Daruk and Yunobo. As far as things that I like about my characters, I mean, as far as like me and Daruk are concerned, we're both big, brown. We've got giant belly. As far as belly button is concerned, though, he's a belly and I'm an innie. That's where we deviate.
So is that going to be a print soon? Can we get that signed?
Absolutely. Just Daruk's belly button.
Yes.
Just the belly button. All right, Bill.
I don't know how to follow that up. I play the King of Hyrule, King Rhoam. I have white hair like Daruk. There you go. Somebody mentioned that when I wished Joe a happy birthday the other day. They put the two pictures of the two of us up there. They're like, they both have like white beard, face hair, just everywhere. We're just long flowing manes of white. That's it. Meanwhile, not really, but still in the game, very much like Joe, but not. Oh well. Anyway, yes, I am the king in Breath of the Wild and in Age of Calamity, and I will say, much like where Sean was saying about like in Breath of the Wild there was this, and in Age of Calamity there was this, and in Breath of the Wild, I am the only way that you can start your damn mission before you can get your stupid paraglider. And then in Age of Calamity, I get to pick up the sword and join the fray.
Dude,
so
I don't know.
Thank God.
Have you played your character in Age of Calamity?
I have not. I actually, the unfortunate thing is I have both games. And as you'll see, there's nothing in here because it's currently in my Switch.
Oh.
This has still been in the case since.
Dude,
I mean, I feel like I want to lick it, because it's like.
All I'm gonna say is,
don't lick it. I've done it. Don't lick it. Yeah,
I have to, but I have to. Anyway,
he's so fun, man. You're gonna have a blast when you finally.
I cannot wait to just like knock out, because I've seen that the promotional artwork for it. He's got a gigantic sword, so I'm just like, it's time for the tank. It's just gonna knock everybody into the into 100 years from now. So, looking forward to it.
No, chat. He's not gonna lick the Switch cartridge. That's how Rhoam died in Breath of the Wild.
And that's canon.
That's canon.
Yes. It was 100 years ago today that I licked a Switch cartridge.
I love it. Thank you, Bill. All right, Patricia.
Oh yes, hi. I'm Patricia. I play Zelda in Breath of the Wild and Age of Calamity. I don't know why I need to say that. What do I like about my character? So many things. I think.
Just in case you needed the names. I'm here for my daughter.
She is the definition.
I love what a great memory she has. Yeah.
You must remember the names.
Father, please. She's like the best warrior ever in both of the games, as far as I'm concerned. She's a badass warrior. And what else? She's ever changing, and I love that about her too.
Yes.
Yeah, those are my things.
And finally, Jamie.
I play Prince Sidon in Breath of the Wild and Age of Calamity. And what do I like about Prince Sidon? What's there not to like about that character? They wrote him so well. He looks, he looks so cool. He's very supportive, and I just love his journey. I love how supportive he is to Link, of course, and I love how supportive he is to his sister and how much he loves his sister, and how he's very determined to change things. And so I really like him. He believes in people and he believes in himself. So I admire that.
Gee, does that remind you of anyone, Mr. Jamie Mortellaro?
Jamie, who voiced the baby Sidon?
Not for nothing, but the
did.
best part about Sidon is riding on his back in the Breath of the Wild. It's like, let's go attack, and it's like, jump on my back. I'm gonna do that, Jamie. We're gonna be in the pool one day, and I'm just gonna jump on your back, and we're gonna swim around the pool.
Well, somebody found a glitch in Breath of the Wild that lets you like ride Sidon like all over the place. I still need to figure out how to do it.
I mean, I know that riding Sidon is what people have wanted to do since one, so.
Wow.
And I'm just like, this is such a missed opportunity for people to start posting like save a horse, ride a fish boy, and nobody posted that. I'm like, total missed opportunity.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm like too old for a lot of those to know what that was.
So I guess they had to have a piece of dialogue written, right? If you get on Sidon's back and take him to one of the stables where they're like, that's not a horse. Because apparently if you get on the back of a bear, if you get on the back of a bear and you go to a stable, they're like, you can't register that. That's not a horse, you idiot. So they have to have one where you just like, Link comes in on Sidon's back and it's like, what?
Just no. Just no. Just go
Come on,
home.
register.
Go to the trough. That's really what's right.
So everyone, how this is going to work is I'm going to be asking the cast some questions, and then those of you who are watching at home, feel free to ask your own. Just include that in the chat, and I may be able to get to it. I'm going to try and get to as many fan questions as I possibly can. So we are going to start off with, going to do a semi-serious hard question. Still keeping it fun here. Now, a lot of you have done anime and other voice acting and other voice work, and a lot of it involves like matching the lip flaps and all that. What are the differences though between dubbing for an anime versus dubbing for a video game? Is there like any real like difference there?
Well, the biggest difference especially with Breath of the Wild, when you're working with a lot of anime, there's about 5 different mouth shapes, and sometimes it's very hard, but sometimes it's forgiving. And something like Breath of the Wild, the lips were actually animated, motion captured, so it's full on lips, almost like a true ADR session, like you're trying to match your live action. So there was quite a trick for the actors to and I say the actors, I guess I was one of them too, but I directed everybody in Breath of the Wild. So, watching them work through that is not easy. So, but not all games are like that. Not all video games are like that. Some are a little easier because there's not as many mouth shapes. And then sometimes there's not as strict timings. But
we were amazing at it, weren't we, Jamie?
Yes.
We
Like to bring up an example from what Jamie mentioned, one of the unique problems that can happen with video games is, often video games will have trigger phrases, like a character uses a move and the character will respond by saying a certain thing. But players are often doing a bunch of inputs and you don't want all these phrases playing over each other or cutting each other off. So there are situations, I'm sure all of us can think of at least one line where the line was something like, try this on for size, but the timing of the audio, it had to be done in under a second and like a quarter, like a 1 1/4 seconds. So you had to somehow say, try this on for size without being too long, but without making it incomprehensible.
Right.
Yes.
Make it faster, but make it sound slower. And
Yeah, you're married sometimes to the Japanese reference in which you're working off of, and so it's like you're really married to their timing as well. So you kind of have to thread the needle and make it make sense, as weird as it sounds. And when you're trying to do that as a Goron, it's that much harder.
Yep.
Well, and also one of the things too, outside of like the cinematics and the main event pieces, there's a lot of just dialogue throughout the game. And actually, Patricia and I were the first to record on the project because they created a sample for E3 when Breath of the Wild first came out. And so I got to meet Patricia before I didn't meet most of the cast till I didn't know most of them were in the game until the game was out. I didn't know Joe was in the game until I'm pointing this way. Joe's on my right and my Zoom right now. I don't know where he is. I'll just do this. Joe was everywhere, man. But Joe and I didn't know, and Joe and I have been friends for years. And then like when the game came out, I was like, holy crap, Joe, you were in it. But I digress. What I was going to say was Patricia and I did meet on that first day when we were recording samples for E3, but my early sample was just like, I know Patricia did her like Link, open your eyes, you know, you must save Hyrule type of thing. And then I had like a brief speech. I think I had like a little bit of dialogue, but most of my first session was just for that demo when Link's walking around like trying to figure out how to chop down a tree, trying to figure out how to roast an apple and all that stuff. And when he keeps going back to the old man in the shroud there that you're not really supposed to know. Oh my God, it's been like what 4 or 5 years now. It's the King of Hyrule, damn it! But
I thought it was
if you haven't made it through the first like 2 hours of the game, I'm sorry, I've spoiled it for you.
It took me a lot longer to get that glider than I'm willing to admit.
You should never spoil. Spawn.
But
Anyway.
regardless, a lot of it basically required Link to do different things and then go back to the man sitting by a fire and him just going, So my first hour recording was just was
Bill was like, "Is that it? That's it?
Was that subtle enough? Was it a little more surprise?"
I have no idea as old Impa what that's like at all. I literally would meet fans that would say, do the for me.
Ah, yes, the famous Impa Tim Allen sound effect.
I've been in Japan for a year and a half, and that is legit a sound. That is legit a thing that they do, where we might say as Americans, like, oh, or like in Japanese, is a thing. And I was like, oh my God, I love it.
That's me after I chug a Red Bull too fast and I have to burp, but it won't come quite out, so it ends up going.
Gosh, you drink that poison? Stop!
You're right. I'll switch to pure vodka.
It's better. It's at least made of potatoes.
No bacteria.
Oh yeah, it's all potatoes.
Potatoes. Have a potato.
Oh yeah, gotta have a potato.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Suddenly we're in Minnesota.
Great, Minnesota, because they've got lots of potatoes.
That's totally where the
Land of the potatoes.
Oh, they've got shitter.
Guys, I'm from Michigan. I find this so. It just makes me feel.
I thought you were Canadian, eh?
I know both work, but actually, yeah, Michigan and Canada. Can you imagine? Yeah.
Hey, Habs made it into the playoffs. Eh?
Habs made it into the.
All right.
Wow, you just over here you can hear people. Yeah, wow, eh? You can hear. Actually, up here it's more like you can hear the people, cheering out their windows. It's more Quebecois. Yeah, but yeah, people were freaking out all over town. It's
oh yeah,
that's awesome.
Funny. So, question for you guys: when it comes to voice acting for video games, a lot of time, and I'm sure it's other things as well, you don't have that full story right in front of you. So, what is your method for like really getting into the character's head and figuring out like what they want and all that, without going into a full Meisner class right here?
So,
some things that work for you.
He tells me to do.
Okay, that works.
And
I was gonna
say that enough. But Jamie is probably one of the best directors I've ever worked with, as far as giving you context. Like because a lot of the times when we go into sessions, we have no idea what project it is, like who our characters are, what the relationships are. We don't know like anything. And Jamie will sit there with you before you even say your words, and he will lay out the backstories. He will lay out and I mean, I don't know where the heck you find the time to like read up on like the details, because man, you lay it all out.
He's just browsing Wikipedia while you're recording. He's not really listening. You do the line, and he's just like, "Yeah, that's great. Next one."
This is what happens next.
He's got to do something in the cigar room.
That light in your cigar room looks freaking phenomenal. Is that what that is? Yeah.
So,
No, this is my booth. That's my recording booth.
So true story. In order to help us get into character, prior to the first recording session, Jamie took us all to a sabbatical shack, and we just totally hookah'd for like 8 hours straight. And
I was not invited to that.
once
so
we were out of our minds, he goes, "You are a bird, and you are a desert goddess, and you're just yourself, but rockier." And that's how we know. So, but for real, no, what Joe said is about, Jamie just knew his stuff and he really helped set the tone for us. And for some people like myself, I'm a very physical actor. I will take the pose of the character. So there's a famous story of when I finally clicked into Revali's head was when we were doing the Valmetto dungeon, and I was trying to figure out how would he talk to Link, how would he sound, and it got to a point where I stood myself upright and I kind of folded my arms back behind myself as if it was Revali's wings folding over each other. And the minute I did that was when I clicked in. I understood his pompousness, his confidence, and from there it was smooth sailing. So.
And then he went, "Link, over there," and knocked the microphone down.
Yep.
I'd say in general, Amanda, to answer the original question too, you do rely so much on the director always, for any kind of video game, especially when you don't have the context. That is the sort of main thing. And also, you do your best to give different options, because so often the video game is being developed at the same time, and you really have to give different variations that they may or may not use depending on when they put the whole map of it together. So yeah, there, guys. I'm sorry, that was so serious. I feel so serious now.
No, I love talking shop about this sort of thing, so I could sit here and talk all day and listen.
And to bounce off of what Patricia, who's down there for me, was saying is that we go in pretty much 100% of the time not knowing anything at all. And I can tell you, for Age of Calamity, I came in finding out at the last minute that figuring out on my own, because they said it was a new session for a new game as what did they call it? A legacy character. And I was like, well, she's the legacy character that I've done. So I went back listening to old Impa, and I come in and young Impa is on the screen. And I'm like, oh, okay, we're making a new person today, because that's just where you're at. So I think a big part of it is really having that improv in your back pocket, because improv prepares you to think on your feet.
Yep.
And that you're making something new with what's being thrown at you right here today. Because this is the information in video games as actors we just do not get until we get in the booth. We're lucky if we get any of that information before we actually book the gig. So I think that's the biggest.
And it is muscle memory too. I find, work with so many actors. The more I've watched so many actors for 20 years go from, newbies, and you watch them year by year, that muscle gets stronger and stronger. And the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with that. And many times the actors will not get the script till, like everybody's saying, till the moment of. Once in a while, they'll get stuff ahead of time, but the developers work so hard and they're killing themselves over there to make a good game. And the scripts come in, and talent doesn't always get them ahead of time. But I find that the actors that are doing it for, as time goes, it's just a muscle. They start developing that muscle. So they're used to going in there and going, okay, it's almost like a martial art in many ways, where they come in and they go, okay, this is this room. I've recorded in this room before. I've recorded in this room 50 times. So they know the people, they know the director, they know the engineers, and they feel comfortable. And they're like, okay, this is the script. What style is it? They start understanding the genre of the script. They go, okay, they see maybe an image of it. Okay, this looks like it's a sort of anime, or this one looks a little more realistic. So they start guiding into that. And that takes time. That's not something that just happens overnight, or like you instantly have that. You could be a fine actor, fine stage actor, or not camera actor. But that kind of thing, that kind of ninja quality where they could come in and just like this cast here, they could come in, look at something, get some direction, understand it, start finding that character and nail it. That is a martial art. It really is, and it takes years to get that, and just endless auditions, endless sessions, and then they get to that point where they can do that.
And now we are strong like Goron.
Yeah.
It's
Now,
process.
Myself, and I'll admit myself, because I'm on the other side of the camera all the time. So on the other side of the booth, so I don't do the voiceover so much. I could help people with line reads and get them into stuff pretty quickly, and help them understand where they're at. But myself in front of the mic, it takes me takes me a little bit, because it's not something I do all the time. So it takes me sometimes a little bit to get into it, longer than any of the actors we're speaking with. And that's just because that's not my muscle memory. Directing, getting a script, not ever seeing it before, working with actors, no problem. That's done that for decades. But that special thing that this cast and the other actors I work with, that is something that is very special to watch. Somebody could come in and just start banging stuff out quickly. Maybe a little adjustment here or there, and then it's gonna work.
You're welcome.
I've actually grown beyond the need to come in studio. I just project my voice from home like a ventriloquist, and they open the vents over at the studio, and it just filters in front of the microphone. I've been spending a decade on this, but I'm very glad it's finally coming to fruition.
We have
that resonance.
Not a year too soon either.
I just kind of teleport into the booth like one of the Yiga clan.
Yeah.
Banana and then do my lines.
There's Bill.
I too have an omnipresent voice.
Cool. So work up to the point of having an omnipresent voice. Got it. You hear that? Everybody is trying to be an actor at home. That's what you want to do.
And if there's anybody that are actors out there that are wanting to be voice actor or aspiring voice actors, all I can tell you it's practice, practice, practice. If you're not in a session, you should be reading. You should be practicing every day, every single day. Don't skip a day, every single day, because you're competing against ninjas. Either they're in a session or they're auditioning. They're doing it every day. So my best advice that I always give is, got to do it every day, every single day.
Can I tell you that I thought you were going to start giving out your omnipresent voice coaching lessons?
No, that's another con.
Like an omnipresent voice.
Yeah.
No, you all have like really extensive backgrounds in acting, whether it's stage or film or voiceover. Not so much what got you into acting, but rather what made you stay with it. Like, what was that one role or production that you did? And this could be like back when you were in the second grade playing a tree in your school play and fell in love with it. What was it that like just really caught you, I guess?
I definitely have to go last for this one.
Okay.
Otherwise, no one else will get a chance.
Okay.
I'll go first, because I don't think it was a role or a project. I think it was mental health, like mental and emotional health was what kept me doing acting and performing. It was a matter of, this is something that I need for my well-being, to express my humanness in the world that we live in. Does that make sense? Or is that like a lunatic?
No, it totally makes sense. I get it.
Yeah, I was like, when you mentioned, a project or a role or something, I'm like, that sounds so neat, but that is not at all my experience with it. I think I was an only child who grew up being raised by a single parent, and things were not always, sunshine and roses. And I think that acting and performing was a big part of my being able to express the things I couldn't necessarily express at home, because I didn't have siblings, or I didn't have a parent at home that I could talk to because she was always working or what have you. I think it was more of a survival mechanism, if you will, over the years, that then I learned to hone, and that then helped me make friends and develop my own personal self through finding all these fabulous performer, actor, theater people who were very similar to me in that way. Am I alone?
No, you are absolutely not alone. I get that. I get it.
I gotta go.
I mean, it's just things changing constantly can be overwhelming for a lot of people, to add on to what you said, but for me it's been a saving grace. I've attempted to have a standard job several times, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, the same task over and over again, and I just could not. I can't handle it. I would get tired. I would start phasing out. I'd be falling asleep at my desk. And it wasn't because I didn't care. It was because I just could not handle the monotony of it. And the craziness of voice acting for me is what keeps me alive, to be perfectly honest. Every day, every week is a new challenge. I played Revali, but that doesn't mean all birds are the same. I played a JRPG, but that doesn't mean all JRPGs are the same. And that excitement of what new obstacle am I going to have to face and overcome in a week from now or next month, it gives me something to look forward to. And as busy as I've been with voice acting, God, what an easy way to interact with communities by being a part of the game that people are playing, and being able to just jump in and immediately say, yes, I understand this reference, I understand this meme, I understand these characters, because I had to interact with them as part of my job. It is so freeing to be able to have the work side of voice acting and then immediately be able to connect with the community side of projects that you might have, be more close to home with, if there's a certain genre that you enjoy or a certain publisher that you enjoy, and be able to just hop right in and celebrate that game or that project with the people who are just as passionate about it as you are. So voice acting has done so much for giving me a reason to be excited for both the present and the future, and that's why it means so much to me.
I love how you threw that in, Sean, because I can't tell you over how many years. I think my longest I've ever done a job, like a regular job, was 2 months.
Yep.
So, I had 1 year, I remember on my tax returns, I had 17 different jobs to have to try and claim on my taxes.
Yep.
Because I've never been a 9 to 5, or never ever in my life.
And now we just have 17 different studios.
And that's fine.
I'll tell you what, this is for chat. It is hell come tax time, because I have to wait until like mid-February, early March to make sure everyone sent in their documents. And I will end up with like a stack of envelopes, like a foot thick, of like 36 different clients that I need to write down on my taxes. It's not fun.
Make that money.
Pay your tax advisor very handsomely. They are doing you a favor.
Well, as far as chiming in kind of on what Andi and Sean were saying about like having other jobs, yeah, and that's the thing for people who are at it. I didn't start really getting involved in this till after I was out of college. I did some theater in college and I liked it, but initially when I was in high school, I was in the Art Honor Society, which basically meant that we designed the program book for the school play, and we painted a mural at like a senior citizens home and whatnot, and then we did art projects and stuff, and it was like, oh, you're taking a lot of art classes, so you're in the Art Honor Society. And I really wanted to be an artist when I was a kid. I wanted to be a cartoonist. I wanted to, I was that kid in the back of the class that would just be doodling in my notebook all the time. And I really wanted to do that. And as I got into college and tried to apply myself, because my parents were like, well, you need to do something that pays the bills, I tried to go into advertising art. And I was just like, I don't, this is all business. And it's like, the client wants you to do this, you got to do that. It's not really being artistic and creative. It's like just being kind of pushed into this box of what you got to do. And I was like, well, this isn't the creative field that I wanted. And I ended up finishing out with an English degree, because I was like, I need to graduate from school. So, what do you do with a BA in English? As the song goes. And yes, I was in that show at one point. So,
oh my gosh, who did you play?
Nikki. But
Awesome.
but that was the thing. So I ended up, what do you do with a BA in English? I held down a variety of jobs. I worked as an assistant manager for a CVS for a while. I was a phone rep for Prudential Healthcare before they got bought out by Aetna. I worked as a claims rep for Geico. I was working in medical billing at a hospital. I did a whole bunch of different jobs, and I was just like, I want something more. This is my I want moment. This is my big, song and dance moment. So what I did as a relief from that was I was doing theater at night because it gave me something. And I did a lot of local theater and then started to get involved in some equity productions. But before I could get anywhere where I was going to do anything in stage, I also had the opportunity back in 2001, because I'm older than a lot of these people here. I started working in anime and animation stuff, and I was like, oh wow, this is really cool, because I always wanted to be an animator or a cartoonist or something, but now I can do the voices for stuff. And so I started doing that, and then as time went on, I realized I wasn't really making a lot of money in theater. Not for trying, I was doing a lot of shows, but theater doesn't pay that well. And voice acting, it's a good gig if you can get it, but it was very hard to land consistent work. So, right up into my even years into working as a voice actor, I was still holding all of these other day jobs, their survival jobs as it were, so that I continue to feed what I loved. And then I started to get into doing work with script adaptation and directing as well as voice acting, and I was supplementing work within the field that could pay. And now I don't really, I mean, every once in a while, if I get a wild hair up my ass and I have time, I will try to get attached to something to direct. But it's so time consuming now because I do so much voice work that I don't have time where I could direct. So I don't really do directing and script adaptation anymore. Thankfully, I've been able to sustain on just voice work. But for all the kids out there that are like, man, I really want to do this, just know it's a journey, and it's an uphill extreme climb. And there's going to be, you could work into your 20s and 30s with survival jobs while you're trying to get to where you want to be as a man who is now in his 40s and doing this without having to have a day job. Finally, it's nice, but it takes a while to get there. But you have to love it, you have to want to do it. And if you can, I've had numerous, because I've also taken a lot of acting classes and coaching and whatnot, and always the first thing they say on the first class is, if you could do anything else in this world, go do it. You only be an actor if it's like, this is the thing that you have to do because it feeds your soul in a way that no other job, like Sean was saying, like he couldn't stay focused in like a day-to-day job. Like,
go ahead.
No,
I was say, even on the days when I have them, I'm sure we all have them, even on the days where I cannot stand VO, where I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, this is exhausting, my throat hurts, I don't want to be doing this right now. I can't bring myself to not do it because I'm so eager for what opportunities there may be in the future. And the last thing I want to add on top of yours was, you guys have, anyone that's in chat that's interested in being a voice actor, keep in mind, just because you land something big does not mean that you've made it big or that you're going to always be working. Breath of the Wild came out in 2017. Persona came out in 2017. Both were very big gigs for a lot of people. 2019, I went almost half the entire year without booking a single new job, and it was exhausting. It was mentally taxing. So just because you land something successful as a voice actor does not guarantee that there's going to be a constant string of success, and you have to be willing to keep at it regardless of how much rejection you face.
It's funny, you guys are... I just wanted to pop one quick thing onto Bill's, and then Joe, you're next. But it's just funny about theater.
Thank you.
But it's take a man to the theater, he'll be poor for a day. Teach a man theater, he'll be poor for a lifetime.
Thanks, Andi.
Joe, what were you going to say?
Kind of going off of what the three of you had just mentioned, as far as like working the various odd jobs and day jobs and all the, things that kind of came in with that, with the survival gigs and all that. I've been doing character voices at Disneyland for about 17 years now. Jesus. And once I graduated from college, that was sort of my gateway into voiceover. Because kind of to what Bill was alluding to and Andi right now, doing theater, that's my background. That's what I got my degree in. Theater is great. It's wonderful. But damn, I found out really quickly, if you are not on a national tour or if you are not on Broadway, it is impossible to make a living. And then I'll also say this: if I was going to do anything that was on camera or anything theater related, I can only play this. This is all I can play. This is what I am limited to. In voiceover, I am only limited by my imagination, and the possibilities are quite endless as far as like the roles that I could play, the characters, the different age ranges, so on and so forth. And that's one of the things that appealed to me. But I mean, as far as day jobs, the kind of survival gigs, I've been very spoiled, and I feel like I'm the exception and not the rule. Like I said, I've been doing the character voice thing at Disneyland for about 17 years now, and it's been a wonderful gig, and it's been an awesome asset to have to work those improv muscles when I'm not physically here doing voiceover here at home. So they kind of feed into each other a little bit. And
If you've never seen Joe at Disney, you've got to go and see him at Disney. It's hilarious to watch. It's
one of the moments in my career where I felt like this was where I needed to be. It was very, very early on in my career, far too young to be going into Disney character voices, but I got called in for a voice match audition in Burbank or in Glendale, and I'm sitting there in the lobby, and you have posters and artwork from all the various projects and pictures and things like that. And on the desk was this little notebook, this kind of scrapbook thing. And again, I'm talking, I'm like 19, 21 years old, something like that. And I'm going through the scrapbook, and it's like basically the making of Kingdom Hearts, the very first Kingdom Hearts, with all these like behind the scenes photos with the cast recording and stuff like that. And I loved being able to dive into that at that very moment. And for me, it felt like this is where I belong. I could not feel more at home with what I was about to go into, and I haven't looked back since.
Well, I for one love all of your stories. That's just every single one of them was so awesome, so beautiful and great. So I think you guys have had enough of my questions. I'm sure the audience all wants to have their own questions asked. So I'm going to go through the chat and see what we've got here. Okay.
We're about to get thrown to the wolves.
Well, at least I get to pick which wolves you're getting thrown to. So Eduardo Jarvorsky asks, how hard is it having two voices in one scene, and do you record lines separately?
No.
Yes.
So it depends heavily on how similar the characters are to each other, and good directors will often try to avoid good casting directors will often try to avoid casting people's characters that they know will interact if their voices are very close to each other. But if you've got like a character that's very high pitched and one that's lower pitched, generally it's going to be fairly easy to make them distinct. But to answer the second part of that question, usually we will only focus on one character at a time for two main reasons. One is organization. If you start with one character, it's easier to just look for all the lines with that character's name. Control F is your friend when it comes to an Excel document. But also because it's for our vocal health. If we're switching between a high pitch and a low pitch, or a quiet voice and a loud voice, and we're doing that back and forth, it's going to confuse our vocal cords. The friction is going to be all over the place, and we're going to wear down a lot faster. Versus, when we find a vocal pocket, is what they call it, when we find the place for our character's voice and we stay there, then there's not a whole lot of shifting going on, and the wear down will still happen, but at a much, much slower pace. You can get a lot more done in that same time frame.
In general, every time you're casting or directing or working with clients, in general, you seldom do you have the same actor doing two roles speaking to each other. Sometimes you might have an NPC character on the side, but depends on the game. But rarely have I ever had anything like that where I've had a character talking to each other, because that's just too much. And it's most of the clients don't want to almost respect the player, a lot, because you don't want to have this. It's too close. It's too close to have somebody speaking. It's too much to ask of an actor, and many can do it, but you'd rather have an actor focus, their hard work on one character and not have them having to speak to another one, because sometimes it's a giveaway. Sometimes I've seen it and you've heard it. Sometimes you go, is that the same person? Interesting. So you try to avoid that at all costs.
The only exception on that being
Yeah.
Am I still? You guys can hear me, right? Okay.
Yeah.
This is the only exception to that being when I worked on Pokemon and had to voice various creatures.
Right.
But
right.
yeah, still went from one to the other because of consistency. Not even a vocal pressure, but like just of like making sure that you're staying the same. But I've had multiple Pokemon battles where like there are like two creatures that I voice fighting each other, and Brock on the sidelines going like, "Oh, look at that move that he just did," and it's just like we'll do all the Brock lines, then we'll do all the Pokemon lines. But since you're right, if it's like if I'm talking to myself, it's going to be like, "Oh, well, I'm talking to myself." But when you're doing a they can sound different
It's
enough
very
that nobody will
different,
know
yeah.
it's me.
Yeah. When it's creature voices and character voices like that, yeah. So-
Yeah.
Well, Panda
sorry.
Channel asks. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Patricia, would you? I wasn't sure if you were going to say something. I feel like I almost kind of jumped.
No,
in.
I wasn't gonna say anything. You guys answered that so well. Sorry?
What was that?
Talk to yourself.
Oh, talk to yourself.
Yes. I don't know what you're talking about. What do you say?
All right. Well, Panda Channel asks, where did Patricia get her Triforce earrings from? And can Sean Chiplock say his famous line, "How asinine"?
Am I allowed to say? I need Jamie's help on this. Am I allowed to say official lines that are in the game in character, just not unofficial stuff?
Well, and I'm the wet blanket. Thank you. But
Jamie, tell him no.
What did your contract say?
I don't. It's
It's-
in my room.
Says to avoid it generally, but
I'd have to read it over
Okay,
again.
gotcha.
Patricia, go.
somebody
I
noticed my
like when it was in the
Triforce
first
earrings. I'm super pumped about that. My sister made them for me,
Oh,
actually.
sweet.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. My little sister, she's a little, not so little anymore, but she's a dentist, and she's also really good with like jewelry, and she makes a lot of, this is a little weird, but she makes a lot of stuff with teeth. And so all of us, I have 3 sisters, and we all have jewelry with our own baby teeth and things like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's into wildlife and stuff like that.
But back to you, Sean. Actually, I don't know. Honestly, I was joking.
I don't want you to get in trouble, so I'll be
neither
like,
do
the
I.
bad
But
guy.
I don't know how the rules work. I mean, it's just
I don't know.
asinine. But oh well.
Yeah.
Smooth.
That just happened.
Well, Jolie asks, who is cuter, Baby Yoda or Baby Sidon?
Oh, you can't ask that in the baby Sidon. Come on.
Sure. Come on.
You can't ask that in this chat. Yeah.
I mean, that smile alone is reason enough to vote for Baby Sidon.
They're both pretty cute, though, I have to say.
Yeah, they are.
Jamie, you
They should
did
have a battle.
baby too. You
I
said you
want.
did that too, Jamie.
What's that?
You said you did voice Baby Sidon.
Yeah.
I want baby King Rhoam, but it's literally just King Rhoam as we know him, but like baby size, and like he's still wearing
the
the
big beard and
Still
everything.
big beard.
he's
Yeah.
still wearing the shawl, but like the shawl is like 20 times bigger than he is, so it's just like this heap on the floor, and he just pulls it over his head and says "Goo Goo Gaga" with the full face. Yes, exactly.
I'm like, Father! Oh!
He gives you a glider. He gives Link a glider. It's literally just a colored in paper airplane.
It's my
Adorable. Speaking of Sidon, Natalie asks, this is specifically to Jamie, how did you come up with the voice you wanted for Sidon? And is the current one your original idea, or did you have something else in mind? She also says thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. That's a very nice question. Sidon's a big shark boy, and it could easily go into like a heavy voice and an intimidating character. And I didn't really, working with Nintendo, and I was thinking, I really didn't want to have him have that heavy presence. I wanted him to have this very approachable, kind, thoughtful, because I know how helpful he is and how supportive he is. And I wanted to make sure he was everybody's, and I want him to be find the vulnerability in something that big. I mean, he's a shark and he's big, so it's pretty threatening. So I wanted to find the vulnerability in that character, where he's very approachable and not intimidating. Even though he's big and he's a shark, he could probably hurt you. But I wanted to make sure that he was approachable and find the vulnerability in that character. So that's why I didn't go like heavy voice. I went with light and approachable.
Maybe that's why everybody loves Sidon, because it's approachable. That's got to be it.
Why everybody loves Jamie.
Biceps. Yeah.
That's you. Jory Johnson asks, if all of you met the characters that you play as, would you be friends with your characters?
I would try. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. By all means. Or not.
Who? What? Go on. Somebody. Patricia.
Go.
Go.
Andi, I would be friends with your character.
Yeah, we're shopping together.
I would try and see if I could out-sass Revali in front of everybody else, and I would just give Teba a hug. I'm sorry. The man needs, like, just a warm embrace and, like, a pat on the head, and then everything is gonna be okay. Revali, though, I would roast him 5 ways from Sunday. He would be KFC by the time I'm done.
Yeah, I could see me and Daruk comparing like dad bod together. Yeah, we'd probably go like, just egging people's houses on like Varudania and stuff like that. Like, after that, you got a cold one after and call it a day.
Joe, I could see you trying to introduce Daruk to like a genre of music that you really like, and he doesn't really get it because it's not edible, but then you show it to Yunobo, and Yunobo's all in, and you guys like bond instantly over that.
Yunobo would definitely be into the emo scene.
Yeah.
Dude, Yunobo with the comb over, let's go.
I was about to say, I could see the little like eye sweep. And just
He's already kind of halfway there, like just needs a little bit more time, but it's there.
I liked this ice block before it was cool.
Oh, I definitely think I would take young Impa to Sephora. And we would shop for eyeliners.
that just her hair has so much volume. I want to know what she uses.
I don't
Literally,
think the king would have an audience with me.
Impa's catchphrase right before she walks out on the fashion alley. She goes, "Steal yourself. I am ready."
Oh yeah, I am ready.
There you go.
I see what
I
you
would
did
be
there.
friends with Sidon. I think Sidon's
think-
a good guy. I think he's approachable. I think he's, he's the betterment of people and things, and he lives in a really cool area. So that would be pretty badass. To me. I would like that.
You'd be like, let's go hang out on the beach. Let's just go
Yeah,
hang out on the
yeah.
beach all the time.
Where do you live again?
Amazing.
Sidon, have you ever had a margarita before?
I would definitely, I think I would definitely be friends with some. We would just go wildlife trekking around for flora and fauna and catch frogs and talk about like really nerdy stuff. I'm sure that's what we would do.
That honestly sounds awesome.
Yeah, I know, right? That's what eat things that we weren't
Dog
supposed to.
is broken. Yeah.
What was that? What happened?
I don't know. Andy left.
was
She didn't
broken.
like your answer.
Filled her wine.
My dog has learned how to break into my office.
Oh.
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 He just came in with my husband and just broke the door down and came rushing in. Outside world! No.
Feed him a couple apples. Maybe he'll show you where the buried treasure is.
Right.
You gotta play the
Nice.
game.
That's nice.
Well, JV asks, what's your favorite divine beast?
Gosh,
I
Now,
like
is that
I
like
could remember that.
favorite divine beast, like the trial of going through those giant mechanical, like, holy crap, the thing is spinning around and now I don't know what the ceiling is anymore, because they all frustrated me? Or are you talking about like after you get the divine beast, like you get Daruk's protection or things like that? Or
You know,
I'm
they
not
didn't
really sure.
provide any context, so it's whatever context you'd like.
And I
it to
can't
be.
provide an answer.
Ah!
I have to say Varuta, just because it's the only divine beast that can run. Like, if you saw a divine beast of that size galloping towards you at an incredible speed, I don't think anyone besides Ganon would not manage to crap themselves seeing that approaching at that speed.
Aridanya das Vedanya.
I'm gonna go with Varuta too, just because I don't really have a favorite divine beast at this time. That's I can't think of it. It's been too long. I'm like trying to figure out
Oh,
what I.
I think I might have the wrong one. Maybe it's Naboris.
The boar is
elephant
the
one?
camel.
Yeah.
Elephants.
The elephant was the one that I was thinking of actually. Which one was that one? I don't remember. What's the name of the elephant one?
Elephant is
Been
Varuta.
like- Okay, then
Oh,
that's
so I did
right.
have it right. Okay. No, wait. No, I'm wrong.
Naboris
I'm
is the
thinking of
camel.
I'm thinking of the camel. Okay.
Yes.
I like the camel.
I gotta turn in my credit card. or
Strong
my
Lady
credit card.
Camel wins.
I'm not allowed. I'm fired. I'm not allowed to be on this project anymore. Bye.
I feel like Patricia the Sand Seal should be a divine beast, and then she would be my favorite.
Greatest character.
All about the hump.
Thanks, Dad. Thanks for that. It's really flattering. Yeah.
Well, BOTW Master asks, where do you stand on the Zelda ships? And if people do ship, what pairing is it?
I'm usually down in the deck because I get seasick if I stand out on the port.
Understood.
Have
Have you tried Dramamine? That might help.
Yeah, I might. I don't know. I just kind of stare at my Game Boy. It helps.
Oh, okay.
I
I love how
mean,
you
that
just
might make it a little
diverted
worse,
that
just
question.
looking at something moving. But if that works, that's great.
I mean, what is there to ship? We Zelda and Link are meant to be. Am
Thank
I
you.
wrong? Am I wrong?
You are not wrong.
King's consent here. There you go. Marry
It's
my
like-
daughter. You save the universe.
No, but-
You
it's
can
like-
marry her. Do you? Do you? Good. Now kiss.
It's like that Christian meme of like, I said yes, she said yes, but isn't there someone else you should be asking? And it's King Rhoam's ghost going, no!
God! Get away from my kid!
That is my daughter!
I think they're meant to be like soulmates. I just think that they both got a lot to do before they can settle down and hang out together in any serious way. Just kidding.
Well, we gotta let them live their lives.
Yeah.
They gotta grow. They grow.
They gotta grow, eh? They gotta grow. Don't y'all gotta grow?
Yeah, mature.
Mhm.
Their own decisions.
I heard like Bobby's mom, don't you know?
Don't you know?
All right. Well, Kingly Red asks to all the cast, if you had to choose another character in Breath of the Wild to voice, who would it be and why?
Urbosa. She's so bad.
Me too.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Everybody wants to be Urbosa.
Everybody does want to be Urbosa. Yeah.
I had a con a while back ago, and I took it upon myself to like have us record each other's like catchphrases, which was a lot of fun. So like, Patricia, I think I had you doing like Daruk's protection is ready to roll, and then I would do like Urbosa's fury, and it didn't like look Elizabeth. She's got it. Like she's got it.
Honestly, though, if we heard Urbosa say Urbosa's fury with like the gravitas of Daruk, I would not put it past Urbosa to be capable of doing that. Have you seen- if you've seen her special attack animation in Age of Calamity, I could watch that thing for 24 hours straight and not get tired of it.
It's
You know what?
Revali. For me, it'd be Revali. I think it's such a complex character. You know, I really like Revali. Just you know, a bit misunderstood, a bit. He's got some bravado, and he's ready to challenge, and he's not backing down, and he really believes in himself completely. And I thought there was, and Sean crushed that. But I really, I that would be one that I would think about, and I would do it poorly, but.
Well, Lewis would like to know, how does Daruk get that deep voice?
Whiskey and cigarettes.
Dance, monkey.
Rocks, lots of rocks. Yeah. What did you say, Bill? Whiskey and cigarettes?
Sean
He
said
said
that.
that.
I believe it was Sean.
That
What was
me.
it that?
No, it was Jamie. Jamie said whiskey and cigarettes. There you go.
Rump roast? What is it? Fried rock roast or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun being able to explore like Daruk, like having a barbecue and Age of Calamity, trying to get the meat of-
Just drop it on the ground. It'll roast.
Oh.
Well, Vince asks, what's the coolest fan art you've seen of your character or coolest gifts you've gotten from fans?
Oh man.
That's a tough
I've
one.
seen
That
Here's
is
a call,
not
y'all.
fair. There have been
Here's a call
so
to-
many.
All of-
Okay. The one I'll bring up because I know you remember this one, Patricia. I'm sure most of us remember it. Remember that commission someone made of all of the champions
Oh,
and their
yeah, well,
descendants eating at like a dinner table together?
Yeah.
Like it
That
was
is one of the
giant buffet.
yeah. And we all like went around and we mimicked the picture, and then we took
Yep.
a picture on top of it to
Yep.
mimic that picture.
Yep.
That was an
My
incredibly
brain
beautiful
instantly
piece
goes
of
to that
art.
when I think of it.
Yeah,
Right.
that's really nice. Yeah.
I'm actually want to commission a piece that is like the cover of Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction,
Ooh.
but with all the champions and like Zelda right there.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like if there's anybody on YouTube that wants to do that, like hit me up and we can commission that. Either that or like the Abbey Road with the champions.
Oh, that would be cool.
Those are two prints that I definitely want to commission. So if there's anybody out there, hit me up.
Oh, I have to say one that I particularly enjoyed is a few people I've written something for them in Hylian and they've gotten a tattoo of it. That's cool. That's really cool.
And then every so often you look back and they go, spelled that right? I didn't mess that up.
Like, they can't tell. It's okay. Yeah.
About that.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Well, look, everybody's talking about all their favorite pieces of fan art, including that wonderful dining scene. But I will say that in that wonderful dining scene, the king is not present. And there isn't a lot of King fan art. So here is a call to y'all out there in internet land. Start making more King fan art already. I'll tell you it's great, all right? I just want some attention.
And I have to chime into that because we were on that same page when I was old Impa, but I'm in a different plane now because she's younger, and I still call ages.
Now you
I still call
now you got at least now you got young Impa art. I mean, I'm still waiting for that commission piece of like we were joking around with Joe on a panel at a convention of I want the king and Daruk to go on an adventure together and just like have the king riding on the back of Daruk with like his giant sword drawn like forward to battle.
It'll be like
It'd be a big mass of white hair and big burly men just
Like he's got his own version of pocket sand. He just rips off some of his beard and throws it in the face like tarantula hairs.
Just want this picture on a t-shirt now.
Oh yeah.
Someone's doodling something.
I was like, I hear the internet
Okay,
drawing as we speak.
I wasn't sure what that noise was. I was
The
trying to figure out where it was
internet
coming
is
from.
drawing.
It's fan fiction writers making up a new ship. Hit the
Oh, no.
I
Well, Kate MCAT asked for Patricia. When you were preparing for such an iconic role like Zelda, did you research into the previous Zeldas or just try to make it your own? And that your Zelda voice is one of her favorites so far.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I did put my heart into it. That's for sure. After I found out so I went into the audition not knowing what it was. So I developed a voice based on the Bleach script. And by the time I got in for the actual recording, things had pretty much been set on the direction of where they were going, which Jamie can attest to. And but after I did find out what the actual role was, I kind of freaked out. And I think I probably asked, like, is there a Hylian language that I could learn? And also, I looked into Hyrule Historia. I definitely like researched the games, but they really weren't. I mean, being that she is also, there have been versions of the voice, but not like less official versions of the voice. And she's not like the Japanese version. I mean, it was very much an English version of this character. And you have this beautiful, rich script that's developed specifically for this game. And so you have to go with what's in front of you. You have to go with what comes from the script and with what comes from the room and the director and the team and the immense amount of thought they've put into that. So while I did look back at the stuff as a reference, I didn't use it to affect the voice that I came in with. It was more of a feeling, an intention, what the scene needed, the context of the actual game itself.
All right. Well, we have time for one more question. And that is going to be for
Blue.
everyone. Oh.
No, yellow. Sorry. What's the question?
Okay. Well, the question is, it's asked by both Noriko and Annalyn. And for everybody in the cast, favorite line from your character for both either Breath of the Wild or Age of Calamity.
Don't go preening yourself just for doing your job. It's not only hilarious to say, but it's actually a very good piece of life advice to keep you humble.
I mean, I love Steal Yourself, I Am Ready, but particularly because I grew up doing drill team, and so this kind of stuff. And so when she does that, I'm like, yes! So that's my favorite.
I tried doing it once, but I messed up the symbol at like the last second and my microwave exploded, so I don't mess with that anymore.
You don't want to do that.
I liked one of my favorites. Just one of the first lines was, "Are you a Hylian?" And just that moment where they're going to have their relationship, they're going to create their friendship, and just that was a very special little line. It was short, but it was special for me.
For me, it's courage need not be remembered, for it is never forgotten. Because that line is so relatable, and I feel like when I've had really heart-to-heart talks with a lot of people over the years, that's a line that a lot of people hold on to, and so it has a really special place in my heart too, as just a way to persist in life and have hope and stuff like that. It's everybody needs to be reminded that they have courage, and I
Home is
love
where the
that
heart
line.
piece is.
Yeah. Here's my sketch.
Aww.
There we are.
Beautiful.
Oh, yay!
There you go.
There was sketching going on.
I think great job, little guy, was always, and not just the line itself, but the laugh that would accompany it. Anytime we get a chance to have a laugh from Daruk, that really just full, it's so much fun, man. It's so much fun just being able to like laugh and exist as this character.
Awesome. Well, you guys, thank you all so much for
Thank
joining
you.
me. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for watching and taking part and asking your questions and just being here.
Thank you.
Before
Great
we
work.
go,
Thank
though,
for
you
doing
guys have the Streamily signing over the weekend. And so that is a wonderful opportunity, if you guys have never done this before, to get an autograph from the actors on a really awesome print, and they'll sign it, and then you can watch them do it live. It's, it's the closest thing we can get to being in person at conventions right now. So if we can just go around, and I'm just gonna, because I'm looking at my little lines of people. I'll start with Andi, where they can find you on social media and when you'll be doing your Streamily signing.
I am doing my Streamily at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Instagram, and it is my first ever live ever, and I am not a tech genius at all. So, but I will be debuting a brand new lip color that you should all be excited about. And I will be totally glam, which is not what's happening today. Get ready.
All right, Sean?
I go by Sonic Mega basically everywhere, Twitter, Twitch, and Twitch is actually where I'll be doing the Streamily signing. I believe I have it set for 10 to noon, both Saturday and Sunday. So if you miss out on one day, don't worry, you'll have other options. And if we have to run over the 2 hours, that's fine too. But 10 to 12, Saturday the 12th and Sunday the 13th, at Sonic Mega on Twitch.
Cool, thank you. Joe?
At Joe Hernandez VO. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram. I'll be doing my Streamly tomorrow. I want to say 5 p.m. Pacific from 6 p.m. If we run over, we're going to run over, and we're going to do it until we sign everybody as a prince. So I'll be there. I've got some amiibos, so if anybody wants an amiibo, I got you. But yeah, I'll be doing it on Instagram.
Awesome. Bill?
Ooh. I am on Twitter and Instagram at Bill's Voice. BILLSVOICE, all one word. Bill's Voice. That's my handle on both. I don't do the Twitch, so I'm doing an Instagram stream signing thing. I did one like 2 months ago for Pokemon, and now we're doing the Zelda thing, but there are still Pokemon cards and Pokemon prints and stuff available. If you go to streamly.com/Bill Rogers, pick your favorite, and then on Saturday, I believe it's at 4 p.m. Pacific, I will be signing. I'm one of the last people in the group to sign because My ineptitude last time made it where it should have just taken an hour to sign, but it took closer to 2 hours. So I figured, let me not step on anybody's feet. I'll do it at the end of the day on Saturday after everybody's been taken care of. So you'll see me there.
Patricia.
Yeah, so my handle is at Summerset _. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I'll be signing on Streamily on Insta, and my time is 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so that's 11 a.m. Pacific Time on Saturday.
And Jamie.
I am JD Mortellaro, Twitter and Instagram, and I'll be doing it on Instagram, and I believe it's 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Pacific Standard.
On Saturday, right?
Yeah, it's Saturday. Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah, I'm working.
Well,
Working.
Awesome. Well, everybody, seriously, thank you so much for being here. And be sure, everyone that's watching, check out that Streamily event. It is
Very nice.
Such an amazing opportunity.
Nice.
Definitely jump on that for sure.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you.
And if you guys have anything
Words.
else you want to add, go ahead and do that. Thank you, guys. I'm
Thank
so
you,
happy
Zelda
you're here.
Universe.
Yeah.
Yes,
no,
thank you,
no,
Zelda
Thank you,
Universe.
Zelda Universe.
And thank you to the community as well. Like Breath
Absolutely.
of the Wild
Yeah.
came out 4 or 5 years ago. Age of Calamity is already getting pretty close to being what, a year old at this point?
Yeah.
Was it last year?
No, it was
It
November
came out right before
2020.
the holidays.
2020. So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
almost yeah. And just the love and passion from everyone that's a big fan of Zelda, whether it's from those games specifically or the whole franchise. You guys are what makes stuff like this fun for us. So thank you for making our careers
Yeah.
possible and for making them so fulfilling.
Lovingly said. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Sounds
guys.
good to me.
Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody. Take care. Good to see
Bye,
everybody.
You too. Nice
So
reunion.
wonderful talking to all of you.
You too, Amanda. Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you, man.